President and Venal Houseplant Joe Biden launched his re-election campaign last week with a fiery speech near Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, in which he declared, quote, "Donald Trump is not fit to be president," and then wandered off stage, tripped over his own shoe heel, tumbled down a flight of stairs, rolled out the door while flailing his arms and blinking rapidly with an empty expression on his open-mouthed face, and finally awoke 2 days later in a truck stop in Lancaster County wearing an Amish hat and a Guns N' Roses t-shirt before being led back to the podium by First Lady Dr. Mrs. Jill Biden, whom he mistook for his grandmother and sobbed because he thought she had passed away in 1943, or at least it was very difficult to wake her up from her nap. The speech was delivered on the eve of January 6th, exactly 3 years, 8 months and 20 days after leftist riots claimed at least 25 lives and caused around $2 billion in damage, making them the most costly political violence in the nation's history. And also 3 years after that thing at the Capitol where all the idiots ran around stealing furniture and stuff. Speaking in tones so sonorous with righteous anger they made the drool on his chin quiver, Biden said, quote, "We stand today at Valley Forge. Never forget what happened here." No, really, what happened here? I don't remember. Oh yeah, something about George Washington and feet. And there was blood on the snow, just as there would have been blood at the Capitol on January 6th if people had been standing in the snow with no shoes on, which, let's face it, is a pretty stupid thing to do, and George Washington should have known better. Always wear boots when you're in the snow. This is America, for God's sake. It gets cold here, especially in the winter at Valley Forge. But meanwhile, in Washington on January 6th, we almost lost our entire democracy. And sure, for that to happen, it would have taken some unimaginably extraordinary series of events where, like, someone in the Capitol accidentally butt-dialed his mistress at the Pentagon, who then fell off the lap of the Secretary of Defense, causing him to topple backwards off his chair, shouting a string of incomprehensible curses that just happened to sound like the nuclear code, so that some idiot DEI hire panicked and launched a missile at China, which then got sidetracked and fell on Pennsylvania Avenue, blowing up our entire democracy. But who knows? That could have happened. And it was all because Donald Trump is not fit to be president. If he were, I wouldn't be standing here today in this Amish hat and Guns N' Roses t-shirt crying about my dead grandmother. What a wonderful woman she was. I wish I'd known her. But the point is, if Donald Trump is elected, he'll try to jail his political opponents and censor free speech and curtail religious liberties. Or maybe that's me. I always get confused about which one of us starred in The Apprentice and which one is the fascist. And so, as I begin my campaign to become whatever it is I'm running for, I just want to say this: never forget what happened that day. No, really, what happened that day? I don't remember. Unquote. Democrat voters were so excited by the Valley Forge speech, they contributed $1 million to the Biden campaign in a single 24-hour period, during which it became worth $400,000 because of inflation. Nonetheless, Joy Behar of The View reacted to the speech by saying, quote, "Don't tell me President Biden can't handle this job. He's on fire. Well, why do I sell my soul and humiliate myself to prop up this doddering senile buffoon? Wait, is the mic still on?" Unquote. In other reactions, journalists immediately began fact-checking President Biden's assertions in a magical land of my imagination where journalists fact-check President Biden's assertions. And Democrats in Congress rallied around the president to congratulate him on standing upright and speaking something almost like English at the same time. Donald Trump, meanwhile, said he was so offended by Biden's accusations, he planned to assemble a private army and overthrow the government. For more Klavan-y magnificence, like and subscribe. And don't forget to subscribe to The Andrew Klavan Show wherever you get your podcasts.